Hello. I wanted to talk about an experience that I had with this guy. I Ubered him. So it was like nighttime, like on a Saturday, I think. And I don't know, it had to be like maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night. I picked him up at like this football stadium. And it was closed, but like he was there, and like the pickup spot was like on the side of the stadium, so I just assumed like maybe he was working there. I was picking up an employee, but I gave him a call, just let him know I'm here, and he's like, oh my gosh, oh my god, I can't believe I'm here right now. I can't believe I'm here. I'm like trespassing right now. I can't believe I just walked in. Blah blah blah. Like he's like, I can't believe it. And I'm like, well, I'm right here. Where are you? So eventually he gets in my car, and then he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. I'm trespassing. I can't believe I did this. Like, I'm so excited I'm here, though. And he was like, oh my gosh. And that's the thing, so then I, like, looked at him, had no shoes on, just socks. And I'm like, okay, whatever. We had, like, an iPhone. So I'm like, there's something going on with this guy. Like, what's going on? He's like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe. And he's like, he's not, I guess he might be happy, but he's more like, oh my god. Like, he was like, he kind of was freaked out, kind of. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't really joyful, but it was like, it was, I don't know, not so joyful, but like, he was kind of like freaked out a little bit too, because he was trespassing. I'm like, all right, well, okay, so that's another thing, like, as he was like, he was pretty much just like telling me what was going on. He's like, I just got into an Uber, and somehow I ended up here. I don't know how I even got here. I'm just so confused right now. Like, that's my, like, out in the middle of the street by a trash can, he like put his stuff down. He had like a charger and like a water bottle or whatever over there. And I'm like, okay. So then he's like, all right, let's just go. So then we go to like this football like center. And then he's like, okay, do you think I can get in here? And I'm like, probably not, because it was like gated up, and there was actually a guard right there. And he's like, man, I just don't even know how I got here. I'm just so confused. And I'm like kind of driving around in this like parking lot at this like destination, and he's like, and I'm just driving around to just show him, like, okay, well, I'll just show you since you can't get in. And then he's like, you're making me dizzy by turning so much. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I was like, can I drive you home? Like, where do you live? And then that's when he's like, I live in Jacksonville, so like hours away from where we were at. And so I'm like, okay, are you okay? Like, this guy was just kind of talking to himself, you know. He had no shoes on, but he had like iPhone, so it's like, I don't know what was going on with this guy. And then he pretty much told me that he left his keys in his car, and this entire day, like that day, he was just outside playing basketball, waiting for someone to unlock his car, like a person, like those like lock people. And then when he finally they came, he like didn't have enough money to pay the guy, and so he's just been playing basketball in his socks the entire day, and the night before he drove from Jacksonville to this town. And yeah, so that's why he's like, I just can't believe what I'm doing right now. I don't even know what I'm doing. And he just like kept going on about like how confused he was. And I just straight up asked him like, are you on drugs right now? And he goes, no, I'm not on drugs, blah, blah, blah. And it was just pretty funny. And then he was like telling me like how he got into a fight with his dad, and like he was telling me about his, because that's the thing, he was like a musician in Nashville. He like started up there, and then he moved over to Jacksonville. He played on Broadway, and I actually Googled this guy just to make sure that he was telling me the truth, because I'm like so curious, like, okay, is this guy even like for real or is just lying to me? But this was all real, that he was on Broadway, you know, and then he started up in Nashville, then moved to Jacksonville, and he so that's the thing, like, he's kind of going through like a tough spot right now, because I didn't really understand him, because he was like just ranting and going on like different spots, like going over here and over there, like with his like story. Something with his music, like he realized he didn't like what he was saying, and he thought like if only just one person heard this song and like didn't, and like felt sad by the words that I said, I don't want anyone to hear that song. So he took all his music down on iTunes. Apparently he only had one song up there, and his managers have been calling him. His mom has been calling him that day as well. And then he was like, telling me that he got in a fight with his dad, because he was saying that he was feeling like stressed out because his dad hired this guy's friend to work, and that friend wasn't like showing up or something, so this guy was stressing out about it. And I was very happy to see that. Not that I was happy to see it, but like it was cool to see it, because I told him like, you know, you're carrying like other people's stuff, maybe that's why you're so stressed out, because he was like all worried about his dad and stuff like that, and like worried about his friend, and he was very stressed out about that. So I was very happy to see that, because I was like, and I told him that, like, you're holding on to this, this has nothing to do with you at all, you don't need to be stressed at all. Like, I mean, because it is his family and his friends, I mean, it's like, it makes sense as to why, you know, someone would actually, you know, they just want the best for all of them. So he's just wanting to like make sure things work out. But I was so happy to hear all this guy's stories. Like, I was so happy. So yeah. So, and then also just before he came down from Jacksonville to this town, he had a show, and his friend, another one of this guy's friends, wasn't showing up, because apparently this guy helps like set up his like music, like guitar and whatever, like whatever else like musicians need to play on his set, and he wasn't like showing up. And I don't know, then he was like telling me that he thought the friend wanted to fight this guy, and he was freaking out about that as well. He didn't want that to happen. And I told him, like, maybe you should hire someone else to do this, because it's actually your job. It's not like, you know. But he's like, yeah, I know. So, I mean, it's whatever. But, yeah. So then, after all that, he was telling me what was going on with him. Then he told me, well, then his mom called him and was like, okay, go find, oh, that's the thing, he had no idea where his car was at, so we had to find his car too. We're like driving around finding his car. He had no idea where it was at. but eventually found it. We had to like retrace his steps. We had to like go through like past Ubers and stuff like that. It was, I actually felt so good. I knew how to find this. I felt like an awesome detective at this point. And we found the car, and his mom like gave him money to, like sent him money to get someone to unlock the car from him. Unlock the car from him so he can drive to like a hotel or something. But then when we got there, like, the park was completely gated. Like, no, like, he was able to get in, but, like, no cars would be able to go in and out of that. Then I felt really bad, though, because his mom wasn't like, okay, just come here for the night. Like, come stay at this, like, at our place. Because apparently, like, his family lived in this town. And I felt really bad, but you can't really judge anything like that just because you don't really know I didn't really know the whole situation. Like, I have no idea what happened between, like, them, so I just felt bad. But then, essentially, we get to a hotel, and he had no keys, no wallet. It was all in his car. He just had his phone. And then as we got to the hotel, he's like, all right, do you think that they'll take Apple Pay as a payment? And I was like, I hope so. And then he got out and he went inside. And I like ended the ride. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I have to keep working. I really wish I could have known like what happened to him, but I'm so happy I got that ride. I was a little, not annoyed, but I just felt sad and kind of frustrating because he was going all over, and of course I can't lie. At first when he got in, I really did think that like this guy's on drugs and something's gonna happen. I don't know. He's just being very reactive. You never know what can happen. But it really was fine. And I'm so glad I got to go through that just because I worked through my fear as well. But man, I love when things like that happen because you don't know people. Like, you really don't. Like, you don't know what people are going through, and sometimes people do just need help. Do need help in like those moments, And it really just made me think, like, you have no idea where life's gonna take you at all. Which is so, like, exciting, unnerving. You don't know where you're gonna be going. You don't know what you're gonna go through. It can be kind of scary. But then there's like a flip side on that, and if you think about life as in terms of energy and consciousness, and even if like life really is like a game, or just like expanding out the view of like what life could be, and there is like that perspective of, oh, we are creating our reality. But I mean, sometimes I do hold on to that, like, oh yeah, and that's the thing, like, there's been times where I've just seen things play out, and I'm like, wow, I asked for this, I know that this happened because of me, and I know there are some things I have created in my life, especially like the big things, like, for me though, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know, I don't know how this appeared in my reality or not, but there's been many times where, like, oh yeah, I manifested this, I created this was for me. But there's been times for me where I don't know what I have no idea where that came from. I don't know why that happened to me. But yeah, it really just makes me think, like, wow, like, I don't know where I'm gonna be going through. I have no idea what I'll be going through. And like, what paths do I want to take? And I feel like there's just so much more to that as well, because like certain paths, but you don't really know. Nothing's really set in stone. So yeah, you have a belief of this path can take me to this specific place, but we don't even know that. That's not true. Like, things can change. Nothing's set in stone. But yeah, I was thinking, like, what am I doing now to like seed my future? Like, what am I planting that will seed my future? Like, what actions am I taking that will bring me to what I want, or at least attempt to bring me to what I want? And it just really, it makes me think about that. Like, wow, what am I doing with my life? And what if this guy said that he is a musician, he is doing, like, he's making music, he's doing what he loves, and even if he took all the right steps, it still brought him to that space of him feeling all those emotions, feeling confused. And that's because he was, about his music, he doesn't even know if he likes his music anymore because of like what he was just thinking. So I feel like no matter what, we're gonna like, people will go through that, that either that like transformative times, that like the realignment, the thinking of who they are and what they want to do, and like where are things coming from, like what actions are they taking, where is that coming from within, how, like, where do they want to keep going. I'm so happy I got that ride. And of course, when we're in situations like that, it's not like, he didn't seem like he was happy, but it definitely seemed like, he was just very confused. He didn't know what to do. And I feel, we're all gonna go through that type of experience of reshifting and recalibrating to new selves, like to who they are. But yeah, I think that's it that I wanted to share about that experience. It just makes me think of like what I'm doing, and that's what I was gonna say. It makes me think what I'm doing, and it just confirms my own belief of, we really, and I know this is said too, it's like a big, not a big thing, but like I've heard this many times before, it's just what's in the moment now, and how you're feeling in the moment, and what you're doing, and how you are feeling right here now, which is going to lead to different like situations and like the different paths. So if you do just follow your joy, follow your heart, follow what makes you feel good, then I don't know. Sometimes I try to follow my heart, and I know that I don't always follow my heart. So I feel like that's just life, and that's just like who we are. We're not perfect in that sense, and I think we do get knocked off of what we're doing, what we're trying to do, but yeah. Yeah, it just, yeah, it makes me think of like to not even think about not to think about my future, but to focus more on what I'm doing actually here now, not I'm doing this so it's going to bring me this when I have no idea what it could bring me. I have no idea. And that's pretty much it for that. So I'm going to go, and I actually do have to go. I don't know. I hope I'm not late, but I'll be just put in the comments like what you think about that experience, and if you had anything to add, I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.